show before?
Well, when I was up vomiting and all that stuff.
We like to get them sick early, and then they can kind of
because
go up with the show.
You know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my leg give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high, I'ma rip this shit.
We want to remind the audience to please not talk out loud. Please do not applaud. You're just wasting time.
And these people will nothing. And yes, the Russians helped them last time. The Russians are helping them now. And you cover the White House. You know the White House has said, don't brief the Congress. Don't even tell them in classified settings what the Russians are doing this time.
And a lovely Friday evening, everybody. Christopher Wayne McDonald in the house tonight with the black hat on, the cowboy hat, the cool shirt I got. I don't even know where I got this from. You see that right there? This is what happens to you when you get older. I forgot to send them the name of the show because down the side of it, it's got, well, the other side. It's got, I can't even see what side I'm on. It's got podcast. And I kept looking at this today, and I was like, oh, what is that? And then it hit me that I didn't even give them the name of the McFiles, so they had to make something up. So I'm going to order another one of these. I like this shirt. Got the God Bless the USA shirt on underneath. We're grateful to have you tonight. Did you see that video? Oh, there's been some funny stuff out there. Poor Bill and Hillary. Epstein didn't kill himself. Still didn't kill himself. We had Leslie Millwee on late last night. I sent that to her. I'm sure she will appreciate that one. Lord have mercy. Lord, what a messed up nation tonight. It is good to see everybody in the house tonight, and we're going to be taking some questions from you. We're going to have a good old-fashioned Friday night free for. Good to see Jake Franchise in the house tonight. Jake, I hope you survived. I hope you survived, brother. The Demon National Convention in Chicago last week, or week and a half ago, whenever it was, 2 weeks ago now. And it's good, Lord. I was praying for you, brother. I was praying for you. I was praying for all of Chicago. It looked like Beirut, Lebanon up there. And we're grateful you're in one piece. It's good to see you always in the house on a Friday night, my friend. Good to see old Outdoory. Cleo's in the house tonight. Carol Smith, Mark Cason. Good to see you, buddy. Mountain Warrior from my neck of the woods, Smoky Mountains. Donna Nuzzo. Good to see you. Melanie Plummer, Linda Boucher. Tony Salamoni is in the house. Nate Bullock. Good to see you, my friend. Miss Milano, Jennifer, Janet Williams. Good to see you. Susan Latamoser. Good to see you as well. Nate Bullock. Thank you, Nate. I like that background music too. And Lena Delano, good to see you. I'm just looking at the YouTube channel. Want to welcome our Facebook audience in tonight. We're grateful our ex-audience is back. And Rumble, we're ready to rumble over there on a Mac. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about that Bill Clinton video and Hillary. Lord have mercy. I don't know who comes up with this stuff. Whoever that is, if you're out there tonight, please call me. We want you to come on the McFiles. I want to be friends with you on Instagram. I don't know who you are, but I definitely want to be your friend because I like that. That's good. That you're talented. You're upping your game, and I appreciate that. That was some good stuff, wasn't it? Anyway, I just in one of those jolly, jovial moods tonight, so we may not do a lot of screaming. That usually don't make it any difference. If I'm jolly and jovial, it means I'm screaming more. I'll just scream a little bit funner. How about that? I'll just be a lot more funner about it instead of the old grumpy Bear McDonald that I'm accused of being. I'm sorry. Lord, what a messed up nation we got tonight, folks. We just got a messed up nation. I'm sorry, we just do. And a couple of big stories that are out there. We're going to play a lot of video tonight. We haven't really got to all week. We're still going to get all of it tonight. Because I do want to interact with you a little bit tonight on a Friday night. We try to let Friday nights be just sort of I try not to book a guest unless it's something I feel led to book. But hopefully we'll get a guest on next week. Now, I will say this. I want to go ahead and say this announcement. Monday's Labor Day. We're not going to have a show Monday night as of right now. We will have one Tuesday and Wednesday. I know we'll have the face show Wednesday night, which is a likelihood we may not even have one Tuesday. I need a couple of days off to get my batteries recharged for Labor Day, and I want you to enjoy it with your family. There is a possibility that we will have a prayer event sometime Monday. It won't last but about 30 to 45 minutes. But always these holidays, when the people are off, I like to just take a time to pray for the country. And we bring people, just regular people like you, off the streets and put you on the phone and let you pray for the country. And we may do that Monday. I'm not certain of that right now. I will be with you Sunday morning. We'll be with you Sunday night on our faith show. And then Monday is Labor Day. And I want you to enjoy it with your families. And I know a lot of you will be off. And Tuesday as well. We might take Tuesday as well. We got some things. I just need to get caught up on some things. And but we'll be back full steam ahead after Labor Day. We're not going to be coming to New York as we had planned in September. We're going to put it off till October. But what that does mean is that we will be coming to another city somewhere in September. Now, where that is right now, Chris doesn't know, but we're working the details out. And it was more of a logistic problem with New York in September, and I feel relieved about it. I missed outdoors in the house tonight. We're good, and I think we're on the same page, and I think the Lord wanted us to come, but the logistics of it is just going to be better for the next month. And we're also coming back to the Northeast, and so we'll let you know about all that on the Face Show Sunday. Tonight is the news side, and I don't know where to start. Miss Kamala, sat down yesterday with the Crap News Network and Dana Bash. She's somebody's ex in that network. John Solomon. I think John Solomon and her were married at one time. Definitely not Anderson Cooper. I was about to say Anderson Cooper, and that would have been a fact check. A fat check. That was not going to be true. And I'm not making light of that, but it is a Friday night, so I'll just throw that out there. It wouldn't have been Anderson Cooper, but it was John Solomon. She's John Solomon's ex. Well, it was her job last night to be the lamestream media's job to protect Kamala. Who in there, we'll talk about it. I'm going to get your thoughts on this. Not right now. I don't need paragraphs in the chat tonight. I want you to listen to me just for a few minutes. We're going to play a few videos. I'm going to let you just roll with the flow here in a short time tonight. Trust me. But how many of you found it very intriguing that this woman cannot even sit with an interviewer by herself in her first interview. And the left-stream media today is making a big deal about it, telling everybody, well, y'all wanted her to interview, so she gave y'all the interview you wanted on the right, so just shut up about it. Well, no, she didn't. No, she had her communist co-partner beside her, and he was lying through his teeth like she was lying through hers. And there were so many fact checks that if we got all these stories on Breitbart and Gateway Pundit. I encourage you to visit our Telegram room. I'm proud of our Telegram room. We need you to subscribe. Check your subscription on this network tonight. If you've not subscribed, you've probably been unsubscribed without knowing about it. Rumble, over there, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our X account. Our X people are building up. And ever since Elon took over, we're actually getting some traction a little bit over there, and I'm proud of all that. We have sometimes bigger crowds on X than we do Facebook. But no, it was a hideous display. I couldn't watch it. I never can watch this stuff. I just have to see the clips of it. But I was just blown away that she cannot sit down and talk by herself, even to CNN. I mean, it wasn't like Dana Bash was going to be Tucker Carlson interviewing her. It wasn't like she was going to be Jesse Waters interviewing her. It wasn't like it was going to be anybody on the right conservative side. It wasn't going to be like she was going to be interviewed by James Wood, who would have lit her up. No, this was Dana Bash, the most liberal network in America other than MSNBC. And she could not handle it by herself. She had to have Walz by her. Now, we're going to get your thoughts on that. I'm also going to get your thoughts about this. The debate is coming up very rapidly in the next few weeks. And ABC, the All But Crap Network, we have the Crap News Network and then the All But Crap Network, they have not bowed to her pressure to unmute the mics, which is going to be the exact same format that it was with Joe Biden. And I think it's going to serve President Trump very well that it's not. He has a habit of sticking his foot in his mouth sometimes. He stuck his foot in his mouth this week with something he shouldn't have posted. And folks, I'm going to just say this about Kamala Harris. I am more than aware of her past. I am more aware of the issues that surrounded her getting to power in California, the personal sexual matters. I am more than aware that she was Montel Williams' girlfriend at one time, many decades ago. We're all very familiar with that. But I'm going to tell you this, none of that matters. When you ultimately get down to it, folks, the country, look, if the country would have cared about that, Bill Clinton would have never got elected. If the country cared, and I'm not saying you shouldn't care, but what I'm saying is the nation, I told Leslie Millwee this last night on our show, it's hard to read this country right now because the things that probably should matter to us don't. And her personal life is her personal life. That's the ugliness of politics, unfortunately. Trump's personal life gets thrown up all the time. People are always talking about his marriages. They're always talking about his escapades. They're always talking about his business stuff. Always want to make it personal. And I guarantee you this debate coming up in a few weeks with ABC is probably going to be zero about policy, and it's all going to be personal. Dana Bash's inquiry last night, the only question she talked about the policy was the border in Afghanistan, and she briefly touched on that, but mainly it was trying to grill Tim Walz about his military record, and she let him slip off the hook. I'm going to read an article to you tonight. I'm going to come over to my news screen, and we're going to read this article. I thought this was an excellent article. You're going to go back just for a second. Let me pull this article in. This is off of Breitbart, and the gentleman that wrote it did an outstanding job, just an outstanding job, talking about 31 questions that Bash should ask Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in their first interview. She didn't ask any of these. And I'm going to just read these to you. Democratic presidential and vice presidential nominees, Vice President Kamala Harris, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, This is past tense. This was before they interviewed. They engaged in the first sit-down interview Thursday. They did this last night, more than a month after she became a presumptive nominee. She's not. That was her first. That was her first. Literally. Interview with anybody. Now, this is what. Who wrote this? Nick Gilbertson. Nick, good job. These are the 31 questions broken down by larger themes that CNN could have and should have asked the DRO during the joint interview. Price controls typically result in shortages. Are your price control proposals for groceries not going to just create empty aisles and shelves? That wasn't asked. Will providing every first-time homebuyer with $25,000 cause the prices of homes to soar by a similar amount, rendering such an effort futile? That didn't get asked. Would a 20% corporate tax rate, which she is pushing, drive more American businesses abroad by discouraging investments with the United States? That was not asked. Why have you changed your position on fracking? Now, she did ask her this. Does this undermine the green agenda that the Biden-Harris administration has emphatically embraced? And she lied through her teeth. She lied through her teeth. By the way, I got a great cartoon. Did I download my cartoon from Branko? Hang on just one second. I have got to get that cartoon. We got some good stuff. We got some funny stuff tonight. We're going to be light. It's going to be a light Friday night. We're going to have a light Friday night tonight. This is going to be a fun show. No fuddy-duddies in the house. This is going to be a fun show. Let's see here. I had this. This was a great cartoon by Branko. Absolutely fantastic. And just give me 1 second here. And we're going to come back to this because this goes with this article that we're talking about. And it goes to exactly this question about what Kamala Harris did last night on CNN because she lied through her teeth. But the other thing she's doing is she's basically telling everybody that she supports everything that Trump now supports that she opposed. And this is Branko's take on it. Tell me if this ain't the best cartoon in the world this week. I'm for no tax on tips, building the wall, and fracking. And behind her, the Trump agenda. No tax on tips, build the wall, pro-fracking, fund police, fix economy. But Kamala is telling everybody those are her ideas. Dana Bash, to her credit, did ask her about this. She lied through her teeth. Do you see a correlation between your administrations and the Democrat-controlled 117th Congress's substantial spending and the 40-year high inflation that has crippled the working class? That was not asked. Why do you claim former President Donald Trump will slash Medicare and Social Security when you all are moving to cut the Medicare Advantage? That was not asked. In the past, you supported the president's policy to mandate that car makers produce a significantly larger share of electric vehicles. Do you still support that mandate? That was not asked. By the way, I got to come over here and say something to you about that on live screen. It was Jesse Walters and maybe Tucker, and somebody on Twitter pointed this out. They were supposed to make hundreds. Y'all seen those little electric tanks that, they charge with electricity? They produced 8. They spent millions and millions. Joe's spending billions of dollars, billions of taxpayer money. We're going to build the electric grid up for these electric cars. And there's been some people that's gotten stuck in the cow fields of Pennsylvania in the middle of nowhere because they can't find an electric car and their car runs out of electricity instead of gas. The Amish don't believe in that electric crap, so they couldn't find one within 500 miles in Pennsylvania. So all of a sudden, this electric mandate that they're pushing has turned into a nightmare. She didn't get asked that last night. She should have been. It's a great article. This is really a good article. Let me go back to it. I think it's this screen right here. It is. This was not asked. But that's what they're going to push, folks. And it's a disaster. And they own it. Do you support strong tariffs to protect American workers in domestic industries, including the auto industry and the steel industry? Nothing asked. Number 9, have you visited the border yet? Oh, I wish they would have asked that one. If not, why not? Do you support a border wall? If not, what is the best argument against the support of wall? Let me tell you something, folks. Kamala Harris, you talking about a lying spirit on somebody. She's out there claiming that we need to build a wall. Joe Biden and her have let nearly 20 blanking million illegal aliens in this country. And she thinks that we out here are stupid to believe that if elected, she will build a wall. And I'm going to get to this later with your comments. But isn't it rich to you all that she's telling you that if you'll elect her, she'll fix these problems? Well, guess what? They created these problems. Donald Trump did something so magnificently wonderful. I didn't have time to download this one video. I'll play it next week. But Obama, during the speech in Chicagoland, in Beirut, he was telling us that we didn't need 4 more years of the stuff that we've had. And he was referring to Trump. Well, Trump took those words, played his own words, and then basically put a video together of what we've had for the last 4 years under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Another question I want to ask you tonight is, who do you think's running the country tonight, folks? We got a country without a leader. We got a country without, we got a train wreck going on right now without a conductor. It's bad. Let me get back to this because we got a few more of these to go. I'm going to play some video and then I'm going to take your questions on a Friday night. You ain't got nothing else to do but listen to me run my mouth. Allowing in how many immigrants per year is best for Americans? That was, she dealt with the border a little bit, but she did not ask her that question. It was a good question. Does immigration help companies raise the productivity of blue-collar and white-collar Americans? That was definitely not asked. Does immigration raise housing costs and rent? Do you support decriminalizing illegal entry into the United States? Folks, they have allowed these illegals to run roughshod over the country without any kind of remorse and without any kind of thinking they don't care. They have basically done just this. They're wanting to give them amnesty. This is all economics. The Democrat-controlled Senate, state Senate in your home state, Ms. Harris, just passed a bill that would provide up to $150,000, folks, in home loans for illegal aliens who are first-time home buyers. Do you support this move? That would have been an outstanding question. I don't believe she was asked that one. Somebody needs to ask her that. Do you support this, Kamala? Your wonderful, illustrious Governor Gavin Newsom does. It's on his desk to sign today, and I'm pretty sure, I hadn't checked the headlines today, but I'm pretty sure Gavin will put the old Nancy Pelosi, John Henry on that bill. Next section is freedom. And then it gets even better. Your party has claimed the mantle of defending democracy. This would have been an excellent question. But you were appointed as your party's nominee despite never having received one vote as a presidential candidate in any primary. In what way did your nomination process reflect democracy? She didn't even get a write-in. And how can you reconcile the message of freedom when Mark Zuckerberg said that the Biden-Harris White House actively pressured Facebook, folks, to censor Americans? But Donald Trump is such a threat to democracy. We got to defend democracy from this evil red orange head guy. Nobody asked her that last night. Nobody. Dana Bash sure wasn't going to do it. It was her job to make sure Kamala Harris got out of there alive. Oprah's out there extolling her today, saying she is no longer hiding in plain sight. She went and took the tough questions. She took one for the team last night. That's how... I wish James R. was here last night. I can't say the word I want to use. I'd let James R. say it. That's how stupid and insane the Democrat Party is. This guy wrote a great article. Mr. Gilbertson, whoever you are, you did good. Number 2, foreign policy. Number 3, foreign policy. Some more questions. Would you do anything differently from President Joe Biden to negotiate the release of the Gaza hostages and put an end to the war? If not, why do you think the same policy that has failed under Biden would work under you? Great question. Wasn't asked. Do you see Israel as immoral? Great question and was not asked. By the way, we're going to play a video here in a minute. It's off of YouTube. I can tell you that answer without asking her. She does. She hired a anti-Israel, anti-Semite to run her policy on foreign policy? We'll talk about that more in a minute. But I can answer that question. Should have been asked. Somebody needs to ask her. It won't be asked on ABC. I'm going to ask you tonight, too. Not now. But I'm going to get your take on whether she's even going to show up. I don't believe she will. You have said that the United States will support Ukraine as long as it takes. What are your plans to continue to aid Ukraine? Does this mean sending U.S. taxpayer dollars to Ukraine for all 4 to 8 years of your presidency if you see it necessary, which could go into the trillions? Is there a fixed limit in your mind of how many U.S. tax dollars should go to Ukraine? Or is it your sentiment as many tax dollars as it takes? Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelensky have a long-standing productive relationship and similar backgrounds as entertainment figures turned outsider politicians, and Zelensky was actually a key figure in the undoing of the failed Democrat attempt to impeach Trump. Why do you think you would have a better relationship with him than Trump did? Excellent question. What is your plan? What is your plan to help Ukraine win the war? Is it realistic without causing a larger conflict between the U.S. and Russia? Would your policies further drive Russia into China's hands? Great question. Number 26, you omitted any discussion of China in your DNC address and do not have any concrete policy stated on your website or anywhere else on our relationship with Beijing. Do you consider containing Chinese communist aggression and influence a priority? Do you consider China an enemy of America? I can tell you right now, folks, the answer to that question, no. They don't see China as an enemy. We owe China so much money right now. Let me tell you something. If China comes calling our debt in, y'all better be getting used to those egg rolls and wonton noodles and speaking y'all Cantonese, and I'm not making fun of the Chinese tonight. Get accused of that, but no, I'm not making fun of Chinese, but you better get used to speaking Chinese if they ever come calling our debt. We owe them so much money. I put it like this: when we're writing checks out for all this government assistance that we're giving, we're probably sending another one to Beijing with a thank you card every day that they're not calling our loans in. It's a great article. By the way, that question was not asked last night. Not once. Not once. The last section of this deals with Walz. Why have you repeatedly misrepresented your military service, including the rank with which you retired and the false claim that you carried weapons of war? His answer to that, she did ask him that. He says, sometimes I use bad grammar. I use bad grammar. We're going to ask you a question tonight. Did you think that that's a question of bad grammar, or is that just Tim Walz's lying through his pathetic mouth? We'll ask you that later. Not right now. Not right now. Retired Army Command Sergeant Major Doug Julin said that in March 2005 that you pledged to, quote, go forward with your battalion in Iraq, but in May 2005 you had retired. What made you change your mind, Tim? Tim Pine Walz. Tim Pine Walz. What's made you change your mind, Timbo? Was not asked. That question was not asked. That was not asked. That was not asked. Number 29. You ran a hotline. This is a big one. This is the one I want to ask him personally. You ran a hotline for Minnesotans to report their neighbors who violated your lockdown orders during the coconut cake pandemic. How is that compatible with your mantra of mind your own damn business? That would have been an excellent question, Dana Bash, but you were too busy covering for Kamala. Your network was holding their breath. Do you think parents should have a legal say in whether they're minor children? I want you to listen to this one, folks. Do you think parents should have a legal say in whether their minor children are put on hormone blockers and given irreversible transgender surgery, or should the state intervene to stop parents from ejecting? Can I tell you that? And we got one more question after this. Listen to me. I can tell you the answer to that question from Tim Walz's point of view is that he does not think parents have a legal say. Look, he started the snitch hotline for the coconut jab and the coronavirus stuff, and they were pretty much hunting down parents in Minnesota like they were doing in Virginia, that if they complained to the school board about certain things their kids were being taught, Tim Walz was sicking the government on them. So you don't care about your kids. We got January Smith Littlejohn coming back this month to give us an update. She faced a very serious situation with the state of Florida over this. But DeSantis' fault for her, Walz would have probably been agging the prosecutor. He would have probably been prosecuting her because the Leon County School Board in Tallahassee, Florida, felt it was the little girl's parents and told her that she could transgender because they felt like her mama was misinformed about this. Let me tell these school boards something, and I'm saying this to the parents out there that's got kids in school. That school board does not need to be telling your kids about the birds and the bees, Mom and Daddy. That's your job. And if they're doing that, somebody needs to sue the living HE double toothpick out of that school board and own it. And January Littlejohn tried, but she got a hold of a liberal judge and got a hold of a liberal jury, and they said, we're not gonna touch it. One final question, and then I'm going to move on. This is a great interview. This is a great article, Great article. Do you have any regrets, Tim, about not doing more to protect your state citizens? This is a biggie. And their small businesses from the violence that engulfed Minneapolis during the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests. Can I tell you a resounding answer to that question? No! Tim Pond did not do anything. Minneapolis went up in smoke, folks. Minneapolis went up in smoke. And you can think what you want to about George Floyd. There were so many holes in that story and that narrative of what happened to that man. And I regret, I don't have any ill will to his family. And I don't care what the circumstances are. We do not rejoice in somebody's death. We've never done that on this network, and we're not going to start tonight. It was horrible what happened with George Floyd. Regardless of the circumstances, they railroaded the police officer into this trial. He will probably not see the light of day again for his life for what happened. And there were so many questions about whether George Floyd was being aggressive to him and he was just defending himself as a police officer. And Jake's out there, he can tell you, folks, you've got seconds sometimes to decide as a police officer whether you're going to live or die based upon the suspect's actions. And if they're doing stupid stuff, you're going to wind up having to do stuff, and things happen when a suspect don't do what they're told to do, like a bunch of these dumb blanks don't. The criminals, by the way, folks, can I just go ahead and be a little McFile real with you tonight? These people, George Floyd was a criminal. The kid in Ferguson, Missouri was a criminal. He punched the cop in the mouth. Darren Brown was his name, I guess. The one that Ferguson went up in smoke for the same basic reason Minneapolis went up in smoke. It's not like these were priests. I shouldn't use that analogy. Let me change that analogy. It wasn't like they were choir boys. Probably shouldn't use that analogy either. It ain't like that they were prim and proper citizens of the United States of America. But that's another discussion for another time. Walz did not lift a finger to stop Black Lives Matter from burning their city to the ground in protest of that George Floyd killing. And that spread throughout this country. Spread to Oregon, spread to Washington, spread to St. Louis, Missouri again, spread to my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. All over this nation, there were riots all over this place. California, nothing was done about them. Nothing stopped them. Nothing. Nothing. Tim Walz, why didn't you stop it? And somebody should ask him, by the way, Tim, you're the vice president, and what happens if they break out and burning cities to the ground now? You're going to be number 2 if, God forbid, you get elected. What you going to do about it then? You're going to sit back and let the country go up in smoke. That's what communists do, folks. That's what communists do. All right. It's a good article. That was an excellent article. We've got that article in the Telegram room. I encourage you to go read it. And Mr. Gilbertson did an outstanding job. That is the absolute best article I've read all day. By the way, you can see some of the other headlines over here. You can also see the other headlines in Breitbart. We've got some of these on the Telegram room, some we don't. Kamala Harris, Bidenomics is good work. Oprah Winfrey claims she's no longer hiding in plain sight. The Mormon Church takes criticism for doubling down on anti-transgender. Gold Star Mom. We're going to play this video right here in a minute. Campaign vows Kamala Harris will give solo interview on a mystery date. Whoa! Look at there. I bet she will. And, anyway. All right. So let me come back over here. I'm going to play a few videos, and I'm going to open the chat to you guys tonight. I got a ton of videos, but never had time to play them all. Let's see. Where should we start? Speaking of that Gold Star Mom, she let the NBC people have it. They were pathetic. For asking her this. Roll the tape.
Barnett invited the former president to Arlington. Her son, Marine Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover, died at Abbey Gate. What would you say to people who may be pro-Trump, anti-Trump, whatever their politics might be, who just feel like that's not a place for politicians or for politics?
I would have to say, are you in my shoes? I invited him. My son was murdered under the Biden-Harris administration.
Good for her. There's more to that interview. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. I want to play that again. I better not. It'll freeze up the screen. Let me tell you what she said, basically. She invited Trump. To visit him at Arlington Cemetery. She didn't want the Biden-Harris administration because he was murdered under them. They're making a big deal about it that Trump went and put a wreath by the grave of the unknown soldier this week. My question is, where the hell was Kamala and Joe at? Joe's on a beach somewhere. Kamala was deep in thought, preparing for her hard interview with CNN. And trying to pay ABC off to get them to change the debate rules. No, Trump did the right thing. And only Trump haters turned it into politics. NBC is nothing but crap. All but crap, nothing but crap. Crap news network, full of excrement network. They all stink. NBC, and I like what Graham Allen said in that tweet, should have been ashamed of themselves. They're not tonight. They are not. By the way, we did not play this the other night, and you may or may not be aware of this. This is a very troubling story coming out of San Diego, and I think this is the video. There was a group of immigrants tried to hijack a bus of kids this week, illegals. I'm going to take my dear friend, forgot her name, Maria Espinoza. First day I ever met Maria, she said, "Don't you ever call them immigrants. They're illegal aliens." Well, let me tell you something. A group of illegal aliens tried to hijack a bus in San Diego. I think this is the video. Roll tape.
A group of migrants tried to board a school bus this morning while it was traveling to a school. The superintendent for the Humboldt del Zura Union School District informed parents of that incident. One of the stops on the school district's bus route that heads to Oak Grove Middle School and Humboldt Primary. Meanwhile, yesterday afternoon, in a similar area along another route, the superintendent says that a group of migrants tried to stop another bus. Border Patrol, CHP, and the Sheriff's Office have now been informed of these incidents. The superintendent says that for the safety of everyone, if a driver sees a group of migrants at a bus stop, they will drive past it and move on to the next.
Just wow. David Harris Jr., good guy. I met David at CPAC here a few years ago. And he puts migrants in quotations. They're not migrants, folks. That's terrorists. Let me tell you something. Those people should have been arrested on the spot. That is freaking attempted kidnapping. I mean, I'm telling you, this is the world. This is the country that we're facing come November. And while I'm at it, I ain't meddled all night long. I might as well. This is my perfect time. This is what you folks out there with the Christian mantle on, telling everybody how godly you are by not voting. This is what you're voting for by your silence. You're not being godly. You're about to put school bus kids in danger of Kamala Harris's America, just like her California. That was in her home state. It's her big state of California. They're not migrants, folks. They're illegals. They're illegals. They've always been illegals. And they will always be illegals. They will always be illegals. Let me make sure I got my glasses on so I'll play the right things here. By the way, this is another interesting video. This is Nancy Pelosi admitting what we've always known. Roll the tape. She totally failed. I wanted to play that word. I wanted to play it to that. I can't stomach listening to her voice beyond that. She admits to total failure. It was her job to secure the Capitol. But who got blamed for that? The J6ers. The J6ers. So many questions about that. So many questions about that. All righty. A couple more here tonight. Actually, much more. But let me see what we got here to get the fires going here. This is in Aurora. We played this one last night, so I won't play that one again. Actually, this is a interesting. I love these videos like this. By the way, here is Dana Bash right here last night. This is the great hardcore interview that CNN gave Kamala, who's no longer hiding in plain sight tonight. Roll the tape.
Why did the Biden-Harris administration wait 3.5 years to implement sweeping asylum restrictions?
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced since we...
That is what you call a LIAR. Anybody ever seen that movie, Liar, Liar? Where Jim Carrey couldn't lie for 24 hours. It was the most hilarious movie in the world. Not a big fan of Jim Carrey, but I love that movie. Couldn't lie at all. His kid made some kind of wish. Hilarious. I wish to the good Lord above that this woman could speak for 24 hours and not be able to lie. That is a bold-faced, in-your-face lie. By the way, Bash did not challenge her on it. Did not challenge her. Did you hear this crap? That has allowed us to make investments in these nations for allowing 20 blinking million illegals over the border? By the way, you sanctimonious, self-righteous, we can't vote for nobody this year but Jesus. That's what you're voting for by your silence. That's what you're voting for by your silence. That's what you're voting for by your silence. All righty. I'm just getting started tonight. I'm going to get to you all out there. I'm promising you. We're making good time tonight. Let's see what else we can play. This is a good one today. I had to laugh at this one. This is Dr. Fauci. Somebody used to get on me, used to send me an email all the time. You need to pronounce his name right. I don't care about pronouncing his name right, because he is Fraude to me. I don't care if it's Fauci, 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 or whatever else. The most vaxxed up man in America, guess what? Got COVID again. Roll the tape.
You're vaccinated, you're safe. You're unvaccinated, you're at risk. Simple as that.
I got infected about 2 weeks ago. It was my third infection, and I had been vaccinated and boosted a total of 6 times.
Did we just read that right? Did we just hear that right? I got to do this, because if I don't, it'll freeze the computer. Let me play that again. Did I just hear Dr. Fauci right? He said, what was he saying in 2021? If you get vaxxed, you will not catch COVID. Plain and simple. He got vaxxed and boosted 6 times, and he's gotten it 3 times. Roll the tape again.
You're vaccinated, you're safe. You're unvaccinated, you're at risk. Simple as that.
I got infected about 2 weeks ago. It was my third infection, and I had been vaccinated and boosted a total of 6 times.
Imbeciles. Just imbeciles. Imbeciles. That was Fache. Fasai. Fachai. Fachi. Fachai. Whatever. Let's see here. These are the videos I like to watch sometimes. It's like Jack Nicholson once said, the faith that I have in humanity these days is that I look both ways going down a one-way street. And this is why. Roll the tape.
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as saying that those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that would be.
Let me stop it right there. That's the most racist thing coming from white liberals you could ever hear. Now, you black folks out there, I love you. We ain't got a racist bone in our body. But the majority of black people vote Democrat. And they vote alongside these white liberals. And they always are accusing Trump of being racist. They're accusing MAGA supporters of being bigoted, racist, misogynist. We're just a bunch of white cracker racists out here. You know, the greatest threat to America is homegrown domestic terrorism, homegrown white supremacy. To be a white guy tonight is the most endangered species in America. That's not coming from the right. That's coming from the liberals. What they're telling you, black folks, is that you ain't got enough common sense to go out and get a driver's license. I know that sounds tough, and some of you are going to get mad at me for saying that, and the people you should be getting mad about is the white liberals, because Chris ain't saying that. No, your white liberal buddies, that's how they feel about you. And I want to say this to you tonight, and I'm doing this in all due respect and love. You are being pimped out by the Democrat Party. You're being pimped out for votes by the white liberals. You are being suckered and being whored out for your vote by people that don't care one thing about you but your vote. That's all they care about. And when you go vote for any, and you give yourself over to this, you are culpable in this, but this is how they feel about you. That you don't have the intelligence to go get an ID to vote. This ain't the right seeing this tonight, folks. This is the good old liberals of America, the white liberals. Roll the tape.
Prescribed or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
Now.
Did you hear what that girl said? They ain't got the knowledge how the internet works. And the other guy insinuated they didn't have the money to pay their bill for the internet. I say to you black folks who I love, beer dealer folks, my skin is white, yours is black, but we both bleed red blood. You realize that? When they bury us all 6 feet under and they drain this blood out of me, I can guarantee you my blood's going to be the same color as yours. My blood's going to be the same color as the Hispanics, the same color as the Asians, the same color as those Aussies down below. It's going to be the same blood as the Jews, the same blood as the Gentiles. It's the same color. It's red. And I can tell you right now, this is how they feel about you, but this ain't coming from the right wing tonight, neighbor. This ain't coming from the Republican Party. This is coming from the white liberal party, which is the Democrats. Which are the Dems? Roll that tape. We got about a minute.
Here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so like, we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this? Some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Candy camera.
I heard a lot also that.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one in a long time.
Can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Man.
What does that say to you?
So insulting.
Do you know where the DMV is, Ryan?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Did you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even little kids can figure out how to work the internet.
See, this kid gets it. That kid's probably in his 18, 19, 20-year-old range. That kid's got more blanking smarts than every single one of them white liberal crackers do. And yeah, I called him a cracker. In their freaking bodies. He's got more smarts in his pinky than they do in their entire brains. I'm going to say it again tonight, folks. Some of you black folks are going to watch this, you're going to get all upset. And, I ain't going to watch McFiles no more. It's just a racist crack. I've been called racist before. Called everything in the freaking book these days. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Chris ain't saying this. And your good old Republican buddies that you spurn and spew, and you listen to your Oprah Winfrey, your guru Oprah tell you how ugly and racist the Republican Party is and how ugly and racist Donald Trump is. Well, she didn't think that when Donald was giving her millions of dollars and basically helping her fund the Oprah Winfrey Show back in the 90s and helping her be her best buddy to get in these New York socialite clubs. That's not what she felt then, but she sure does feel it tonight. Well, I'm going to tell you something. The same white liberals that support the Dem Party, that's how they feel about you. And I would take a good hard look at myself tonight, and I'm saying, this is my show, I can say what I want to say. I would take a good hard look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you want to be a pimp or being pimped out like some political whore? And I mean that strongly tonight. I don't blink an eye saying it. Do you really want to be pimped out like a political whore? Because that is what the Dem Party is doing to you. And you can't get around that, folks, because that was the most insulting, racist thing you will ever hear. What those folks were saying about black people, that was, that, you want to know what racism is? That's racism. They do the same thing to the Jews. They make the same analogies to the Jewish people, just like they've done the blacks. And the Jewish people go vote Democrat too. And the blacks do as well. All right. That's pretty powerful. This is a cute one to lighten the mood after that one. Here is Viggo Mortensen. I don't know if this was on a show, but I thought this was excellent. Roll the tape.
They're children. They need to go to school. They need to learn about the world.
Jackson, would you please come down here for a second?
What?
How old are you now, Jackson?
13.
Can you tell me what the Bill of Rights is?
What something costs, I guess.
It's a good guess. Justin, you're in high school?
Yeah.
You like school?
Guess whatever.
Do you know what the Bill of Rights is?
It's a government thing, right? Like rights that people have in America and stuff.
Yep. Hey, Saja?
Yes?
Would you please come down here a moment, sweetie? I wanted to ask you a quick question. Saja just turned 8, by the way. The Bill of Rights.
Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of...
Stop. Regurgitating memorized amendments isn't what I'm asking for. Just tell me something about it in your own words.
It's not the Bill of Rights. Even more like China. Here, at least, we don't have a war on the searches. We have free speech. Citizens are protected from cruel and unusual punishments.
That's enough.
Are protected.
Wait a minute. Sergeant, how would you characterize the 2010 Supreme Court decision on Citizens United?
Corporations have the same rights as people, so there's no spending limit on candidates. Which means a country is ruled by corporations, and their lobbies to fund candidates and command their fealty by demanding...
Jesus Christ. You made your point. We get it. It's very impressive. Oh.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm going to adopt that kid. Somebody find out who that kid is. I'm going to adopt her. Bring her. I'm going to bring her 8-year-old in the McFiles. That youngin', that 8-year-old, has got more common sense than politicians. By the way, that's the difference in what the homeschool can teach your kids and what you're teaching your kids and the government school can teach your kids. Because they're not teaching your kids about the Bill of Rights. They're telling them to put tampons in the men's room in Minnesota. So if some guy that thinks he's a girl wants to menstruate, he got to have a tampon. They're trying to tell your kid that he needs to transgender to a woman and a woman to a man. I'm not trying to be ugly tonight, folks. I'm saying this. They're not teaching him about 2 + 2 = 4. They're not teaching them about American history. They're telling them America's a racist, bigoted country, and you don't need to love America. You need to hate everybody that's white, hate everybody that believes in democracy and freedom. By the way, let me just remind our audience again tonight, you should know this by now if you've listened to our network any length of time, we are not a democracy, folks. We are a republic. We, the people, own this government. They do not own us, and we don't work for them. They work for us. That's a great video. High five them again. I'd high five that kid. That was good. That was good. All righty. I've got a couple more, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. Here's funny. This is something funny. Off target. All you married folks. All you married folks will enjoy this one. Roll the tape. Roll the tape.
Which of the 7 dwarfs describes your wife in bed?
They all decided to stay married that day. I will leave that one alone. But this is a Friday night, late night McFile free-for-all. That's pretty funny. That was good. That was good. This is another funny one. I don't know who made this one. This is worth popcorn. Roll the tape.
Yeah, all finished, boss. Deepest well river jack. What's the light at the bottom? Well, we followed the plans. Yeah, we did just what he said. You're supposed to be building a lighthouse.
That's what Democrats say, that they'll fix anything. They've got it turned upside down. And let me just say it while I'm at it. It's Republicans, too. It ain't just the Dems. It's the Dems and the Republicans. I put it like this. If a politician tells you they're going to fix something, remember that video. Remember that video. Good Lord of mercy. Oh. All righty. I think I'm going to leave it there tonight on the videos. I got a couple of memes for you. Let's see. I'm not going to do that one. That's sort of nasty. I don't want to say that one. We talked about the hijacking in Aurora, the apartment complex yesterday. That was pretty weird stuff. It really was. Let's see here. Where's that video at? By the way, this is Tucker Carlson. I do want to play this one. This is a good video, and then we're going to show some memes, and then I'm going to take your questions tonight. Roll the tape.
They run around with, I'm proud of my abortion. I love my abortion. Just this week alone, 25 abortions have taken place outside of the DNC. As they're, talking to us about joy, they're literally killing babies outside and then bragging about it.
So how is that not a religion? That's not a political movement. Obviously, it's nothing to do with politics, actually. They're worshiping something. They're worshiping the death of human beings. So that's the oldest religion there is, actually, is the religion that tells you by killing, you get joy. Beginning of recorded history, every civilization has practiced human sacrifice, every single one, on every continent. And you can ask yourself, why? What is that exactly? Which is a whole nother conversation. But that's just factually true. And that's what we're seeing here. This is not political, it's religious.
We are hitting the road on a fall tour for the entire month of September, coast to coast. We'll be in cities across the United States. We'll be in Kansas City with Megyn Kelly. You can get tickets at tuckercarlson.com. Hope to see you there.
And let's see here. I didn't see the schedule quick enough. I'll go check it out. Hopefully they'll come to Tennessee. I was no fan of Megyn back in the 2016 time, but she's come around. She actually likes Trump. And I think she's seen the light. I think she saw herself being used as a pawn by the media establishment to trash the MAGA movement, and she did a good job of it for a while, but she has not done that. I like Tucker. I don't agree with everything he says, but I definitely think he's got a handle on reality that most don't. It's a call to death, folks. It ain't a party. Call to death. 25 babies were slaughtered right outside the Demon National Convention in Chicago, Illinois. They had a freaking van set up and slaughtered babies in cold blood. Think about that. No conscience. No conscience. None. None. So all you fired up, cowardly Christians that tell me that you're not going to go vote because we can't vote for a party, we can't vote for either candidate because they're both evil. Your silence is voting for the cult of death. I got to read you something. Read it this morning on the Bible study. And I want you to listen carefully to this. And I promise after this, it's your show. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to take questions for the rest of the night. I'm not going to call the guy's name. I'm just going to read this to you. But don't say nothing. Don't respond until after. Refusing to vote for pro-abortion candidates, even though you know that means a slightly worse candidate may win, is not stupid or unwise. It's an appeal to God that in faith we may be unstained from the blood the world is drenched in, and he may have mercy on us. It's saying, I know this is scary, but I won't compromise with Moloch. And I'm trusting you and your promises for me. You will not hide my face from child sacrifice, and I will play no part in this continuance whatsoever. The height of wisdom is fearing God above any amount of fear of men. I want to read you something else by one of the biggest pro-life names in the country. And let me see here. Did that go to my email? I think it did. Yeah, it did. I'll just put it like this. I've got a guest on my network that she's my goddaughter. Her last name and this other lady's last name are the same. But she basically has been out there this week telling people that Trump is betraying the pro-life movement, and because he's doing that, we don't need to vote for Trump. I know some of you, I can guarantee you, and I told the Bible study people this morning, some of the Bible study people were ready to amen that statement I just read to you. By the way, that guy was telling people not to go vote. He was telling people not to go vote. You better go vote. Folks, if this should not be rocket science. This is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. This is not hard. There's no gray area here. For God's sake, can we not have some common sense shook into some folks? I can guarantee you tonight, folks, I don't agree everything jot and tittle Donald Trump says about abortion. He is moderated a little bit back to some of the things that I just do not agree with. I've talked to Carla Nicole. I've talked to Andy Griffin about this on this network. We have been the most pro-life network, I believe, out there. We never, ever compromise our values. I will tell you point blank how I feel tonight. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever I think an abortion is justified. I don't care. It is in God's hand. That baby is not to be punished for any issue with a mother and vice versa. And listen to me. This rape and incest thing, it's a horrible thing. We're not making light of that tonight. It's a terrible thing to even think about such. But that baby is not the one that should be paying the price for that. President Trump believes there should be exceptions for that. I disagree with that. But having disagreed with that, I look at him and he's 90% on board with protecting the babies, and he will do that. He will let the states work this out, and I think that he will make sure that we will never again have federally funded taxpayer abortion dollars going to abortion. I can guarantee you this. Kamala Harris, her party, folks, they were killing babies outside their convention. You know what Tim Walz's stance on abortion is? You ever read it? By the way, she's never going to put this out publicly because God forbid that she be seen as a baby killer up to the 9th month. And God forbid her vice president be seen as somebody that said that basically if the baby survives the abortion, you put the baby on the table and you basically let it die. Sounds like Northern from Virginia a few years ago. He said, oh, you just break the baby's neck. Folks, there ain't no greater evil than that. There's no greater wickedness than that. But I'm speaking to the spiritual community tonight that's out there with their bumper sticker Christianity and claiming they're fighting the good fight and they're winning one for the kingdom of God by their non-voting. No, you're not. You are a deceived individual that's got a religious spirit on you that has blinded you to everything that is godly. You are blind as a bat. Jesus called you a generation of vipers. How shall you escape the damnation of hell? How can you escape the damnation that you're bringing on this country by your silence, folks? When we stand silent in the face of evil, we become complicit with that evil. We become complicit in that evil. And Lila Rose, I respect you, but you are flat wrong for telling people not to vote. You are part of the problem. I've talked to Carla Nicole about this. The pro-life movement is part of the problem. Because all these little political cliques, all these little social cliques, all these little political social media cliques that people get into, and this little group says this, and that little group says that, and the babies still perish. And the babies still die because of the stupidity of people. All right. I said my piece tonight. I said my piece tonight. If you got a question, you got a question, put it in the house. Good to see my old buddy Mark Cason. He's out there amening me. If nobody else is, he's amening me tonight. Good to see you, buddy. Carol, he says, yet people will still vote for her. What will it take? Carol, that's the $1 million question. That's what me and Leslie talked about last night. That's what me and her talked about last night. All of these things I just showed y'all tonight, folks, they're bad. They are. We didn't play one video. I should have played it. I'll play it next week. It'll still be fresh, trust me. But somebody went out and interviewed people. Leslie talked about the 40-year-old young lady she met in Oklahoma, the black lady that stared a hole through her. She says, well, are you paying triple for groceries? Yeah. You paying triple for gas? Yeah. Can't afford a mortgage? Yeah. Can't afford rent? No. Who are you going to vote for? Kamala. Why? Because she's black and she's female. And these videos, let me see if I can find that one. I'm glad you brought that up. I promise I'm going to come back to y'all, but there's a video that they are basically telling people that they are not going to vote for Trump because no matter what they do, and I guess I didn't. Well, I didn't download it. That's okay. I will find that video. But there is, Carol, your question tonight. If I could answer that question, I probably wouldn't have to do this podcast no more because I'd make $1 million. I'd solve the world's problems. I wouldn't have to do this. I wouldn't do this. I'm going to be doing this. I don't care if I became a millionaire tomorrow. I'd still be on this network fighting. I can tell you what, that $1 million would be gone in a heartbeat because it'd be given to the gospel. But listen to me tonight. There's a fog over this nation, folks, that Carol, your question is it. Why do they vote for her? I can't answer that. I do not know. It's this wokeness. It's this Camelot. It's like this. We got a black lady running for president. First ever black lady, just like I saw in 2008 with Obama. I got a video. I'm still trying to download it. I'm having a hard time downloading that video off my laptop to this computer. But there was a woman and I don't know if I'd call her a prophet, but she had a prophetic gift. She prayed back in 2008. Actually, it was 12. It was 2012. It was 2012. It was during the Romney thing, the re-election of Obama. And she prayed, and she says, Lord, I don't want to vote for Obama again. She says, I don't like Obama. How do I pray for him? And the Lord told her. She received the word from the Lord, and he called Obama a silver fork-tongued devil. And I'll let her do that in her own words. And folks, that's what Kamala Harris is. That interview, that line, that spirit, that little clip I played, I wanted to go take a freaking bath in my clothes listening to her talk. I can't stomach her voice. I can't. Just like I couldn't stomach Obama's voice. Can barely stomach Joe's. They're all liars. There's a lying spirit that has gripped the political landscape of America. They accuse Trump of lying. And I'm going to say this about President Trump, and with all due respect, he has his own twist of the facts sometimes to paint things right. And that's a dangerous thing as a politician, and that's why we're sick of politicians. We just want people to level with us and tell us the truth. I would respect them a hell of a lot more if they just looked into the American public and said, we're broke. We got to get these illegals out of the country. You ain't going to have Social Security when you retire. Just tell us the blanking truth. Tell us we're so many trillions in debt and we got to fix it. They're not going to tell you that. No. All they're going to tell you is we white folks are the big threat to democracy. And Donald Trump's the big threat to democracy. All right. Good question. Good question. Good question. Any other questions? Here we go. If you've got a question, it's time. Speak now, forever hold your peace. Speak now. Speak now or forever hold your peace tonight. This is Friday Night Free For All. We got 20 minutes, 25 minutes with you. If you got a question, rock and roll. Rock and roll. A statement. Let me mute this tab over here so we don't get a thing. I just saw a question come into Facebook. Is that Lori Farrell? She says, I guess the $1 million question is what devious trick do they have up their sleeve to reduce the population while they are inviting the immigrants by the thousands, another deadly pandemic? Lori, I'm glad you asked that question. I've been asked that over and over, and I'll put it like this. Did I download that picture? I may have downloaded that picture. I was in a store, and I didn't get all the memes tonight. I wished I could have. Did I download that picture? I was in a store, and there was a box in the store. And they had a ton of masks in them, again. And they're getting ready to mask us up again. So, a deadly pandemic? Possibly. Look, we're on the brink of World War III as it is right now tonight. And again, folks, you know what's scary to me? I go to bed at night, and if you was to ask me who's running this country for us tonight, I can't tell you. I don't think Joe Biden's running the country. He's on a beach somewhere. It makes you wonder who's manning the White House. And Kamala, supposedly, she's not officially president. You hope somebody is in there doing something. But don't think our enemies are not watching this crap. They're just salivating right now. And they're getting more dangerous. Look, I read yesterday, day before, 3 or 4 days ago, that North Korea has actually developed a suicide drone that they can shoot into a nation, and that thing blows up without even having to send a soldier. You think about something like that detonating over L.A., or detonating over San Francisco, or detonating over one of those western cities out there that are huge population centers. Folks, you're talking tens of thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people dead. They're getting that capability. They're trying to, at least. They do not do that under Donald Trump. But they're doing it tonight. Israel on the brink of war with Iran. Iran threatening the world. The Hamas hostages just slaughtering Jews left and right on October the 7th with no repercussions from America. Our hostages, we've got still 40 to 50 Americans. We don't even know what's happened to them. And My buddy James Akers believes they're probably not even alive, and I tend to agree with that. Or your question is a valid one. Something's up, yeah. I totally agree. I don't know what, but it would not surprise me. And I told Outdoory tonight, I said, Dory, the next 90 days, the next 60 days are going to be some of the most dangerous in this country. We're in for some rough waters, folks. We're in for some rough waters. Every day that goes by that ticks closer to this election, we are a ticking time bomb in this nation. So, Lori, your question is very good. I don't know how to answer that. Perhaps it could be. It could be something else. Dennis said Trump is a politician, and some of what he says is just walking the line to get votes. Trump, if elected, I think, would at least be willing to get tough on abortion. If we could get the people and churches behind it. Your thoughts? Dennis, the people in the churches, we can't even, let me just say this, Dennis, we don't have pastors even speaking out about abortion. You know, people can say what they want to about Trump. At least he's trying to protect some life. We got entire denominations that have gone so apostate, they think it's okay. They think a woman's reproductive rights is far more great. These black pastors, y'all remember that video? I wish I saved that video. I think I deleted it, and I can't even find it now. Those black pastors that was applauding her that night she raised that record $80 million, you think that they care? Do you think they're getting behind their pulpits and telling their congregations that you don't need to go out and kill a baby? No. No, they're probably telling them babies, so you got a choice, woman. If you want to take that choice and murder that baby, you go right ahead. We all for it. We all for it. So it's got to start with them. Got to start with them. Dennis, your question's a good one. My thoughts is, I'm with you. And I think that's what Dennis, that's what Andy Griffin basically was saying about Trump. Because we asked Andy Griffin that. And I've asked Carla Nicole. I don't agree. I don't agree with Trump's stance about this exception thing. I don't. But I understand why he's saying it. And I know in my heart of hearts, I'm with you. I believe when it comes down to cases, I can tell you he will fight for life as much as he can. Kamala Harris ain't going to fight for any life. I'll put it like this. I'm going to use a rather strong word here, Dennis. I saw a meme one time of Obama and Hillary. I wish I had it somewhere. And it says, if your ass ever depended on them, or if your life ever depended on these two, your ass is grass. Let me tell you something. With Kamala and Tim, it's the same thing. There was a question in the chat last night. Do you think the Democrats will open their eyes and see the mistake they made after they vote for her? Nope. No. Because she's the one that's been in power for 4 years creating this monstrosity monster of a mess. Right there with Joe. She told Dana Bash last night. Dana Bash asked her, said, has your values changed? Do you feel bad about not telling the country about Joe's cognitive decline? Well, my values are the same. I've got no changing values. I've got no remorse. I've done everything right. And you heard her talk about the border, for God's sake. She thinks it's been a good policy. It's a good work. Bidenomics is working. Sure. But if your life depends on these two, you can kiss it goodbye. And then babies, they're not going to have an advocate. Trump will at least try, Dennis. So, what do I think? I don't think there's no gray area to me. I don't have to agree with every jot until Donald Trump says to vote for him. But I'm trying to appeal to these lukewarm, I'm about to use a bad word. These lukewarm, blinded, pharisaical gnats and blind guides leading the blind, and they're both going into the ditch. They're taking the country into the ditch with them that claim that if you vote for either candidate, it's evil. That is more dangerous to me than the abortion itself. Let's see here. Roger says, mass deception seems to be the new pandemic. According to the polls, it appears to be working. Yeah. Roger, I don't put a lot of faith in those polls, but I know what you're saying, and I think that they're trying to convince you that she's ahead. Look, we don't vote in September. Tomorrow, Sunday will be September the 1st. We don't vote in September. We vote in November. And I don't care what the polls say. I've seen some polls. I've seen one poll that Trump was up by 20 points in Georgia. I don't believe that poll. I saw another poll, she's up by 5. I see some polls in Pennsylvania that Trump's up by 2-3 points. There's other polls that she's up by 6. It all depends on who's taking the poll. So I don't pay any attention to either side. I don't get giddy when I see a poll that Trump's up. I don't get discouraged if I see he's down. We don't vote right now. And the 2 months that are ahead is a lot. In politics, that's like 20 years. That's like 20 years. Things could happen. Anything can happen between now and November. I think Lori's question is probably the more important one. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop on our country. Honestly, I do. I don't know what they got planned up their sleeve, but I don't trust these folks. That's all I got to say. Anyway, so you Facebook folks, good questions already. Lori, let me see. You said something else. She says, anybody who knows military warfare knows the way to win the battle is to destroy communications. I think there's no mistake to the problems with the internet lately and phone service. It seems very deliberate. Lori, I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree with that, and I think that they are test driving. Because think about it, Lori, and I'm glad she brought this up. Think about what would happen on election night, folks. What's going to happen if in the middle of the voting that all the election machines go down because we've lost the internet and we've lost electricity across the country? What do you think they're going to do? Oh, we can't declare a winner. You know, me and Leslie were talking about this last night. If American Idol can count 65 freaking million votes or 6 million, 10 million votes in 30 seconds, can we not count 150 million votes in 6 hours? Yes! They don't want to count them. I can't say what I want to say. If I was just airing on Rumble tonight, I would. I'm going to have to take this video down probably anyway. But you get the drift. You get the drift. All right, let's see what we got here. Maddie, I didn't say she was black. You saying Harris is not black? I don't think anybody in this network said she was black. That's the point. She's not black. I'll agree with you. She's not. But her comrades are pushing that narrative. They're pushing it. They're saying it. The whites ain't saying it. She's saying it. She's saying it. She wants to appeal to, she's Asian, black, what's her daddy, one of the islands of the sea, Jamaican, I don't know. She's everything to everybody. She's Kamala. That's what a chameleon does. That's what a chameleon does. So, anyway, Patty Isaac says, I've heard Comrade Kamala likes the booze too much. I think that could be the possibility of her word salads. No, she's just a communist. She's just a communist. Let's see here. Do you think God has blinded the eyes of some of these people? Linda, do I think God has blinded the eyes? Well, I'm not going to say God has blinded them, but they've allowed themselves to be blinded by self-righteousness. And look, it's what happened to Israel. It's what happened to Israel. That's why Israel's in the state she's in tonight. She did not recognize her Messiah. God sent a judicial blindness on her heart because they refused to recognize that they needed Him. I don't know what's wrong with these Christians, Linda. I don't. I can't define what's wrong with them and what ain't. I've seen some of the most craziest stuff posted on Telegram rooms and craziest crap posted on Facebook things and X and Twitter, and I just shake my head and I just say, what drug are you on? I mean, what spiritual meth are you smoking to believe that nonsense? And they're smoking good. Is it blindness? Yes, blindness. They've done it to themselves. They've done it to themselves. Let's see. Lady says, we are in a fight for souls and it feels like most everyone is asleep. Well, perhaps. Not everybody, lady. Not everybody. They're not everybody. Jay, it's a great quote from Benjamin Franklin, a republic, madam, if you can keep it. You know, I quoted that to my aunt. I saw her and my uncle a few months back, well, a month and a half ago. We talked about that. And Ben Franklin, who was basically an atheist, by the way. I don't know if y'all know that. Ben, there were some quotes that he attributed to God, but if you got down to it, he had a weird religious view. Almost like a Father Earth kind of thing, Mother Earth kind of, I don't even know what you call that. But anyway, that's not important tonight. But he did make that comment, Jay, and it's a great comment because we have a republic if we can keep it. We don't, Jay, let me just say this. What you just said is what I'm trying to get across tonight. People that don't go vote don't want to keep it. People that sit there blank, their arses home, and don't vote, they don't want to keep this republic. That's the kind of people I'm trying to shake a knot into. It ain't working. It ain't working, Jay. But it's a great quote. I'll totally agree. Susan says, I visited a cousin. He lives in a retired Catholic nun facility. Almost all of those nuns are supporting Kamala. Huh. One nun had Kamala's picture and told me she's our next president. Wow. That's interesting. Not surprising, Susan. Not surprising, but it's interesting. Not surprising. By the way, got a question for y'all since we're going quiet on the questions. How much do you believe that give me a scale of 1 to 10 out there, 10 being she won't show up, 1 being she will. Now let me reverse that. 1 being she don't show up, the possibility of 10 being that she absolutely shows up. How many of you put a number on the odds of Kamala Harris showing up to that debate with Trump? Just curious. Just curious. 1 to 10. 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Anybody? Patty says a 4. Carol Smith, -2. Ho, 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 ho. That's why I like Carol Smith. That's why I like. Lisa Voice is 0. I'm getting some pretty decent, interesting numbers. I got a 1, a 4, a 1, 1, 2, 4, 0, 3. Let's see here. What else we got over here? Over here on Facebook. Let me see. Where were you guys at? I had you right there. There we go. I got a 4. I got a 6. Danny's got more faith that she's going to show up than most anybody. A 3. 1. Timmy scares me more too, Linda Breckle. She sure does. Claudia, I'll get to your question in just a minute and statement. I'm seeing a wide range. Lori says, I think she will, but she'll pre-prep with questions ahead of time. Lori, you know, that's not a bad point, and that's something I hadn't thought about. But, hey, Donna Brazile did it with Hillary. And, you know, I wouldn't doubt it. I think you're right. I think that's a legitimate statement. Can't prove that, but I tend to believe they're going to wiggle out of this somehow. I may be wrong. I'm going to throw my lot at 5 so I can go either way. So we got a range from -2 to 10 so far. So -2 and 10. Interesting. Lady says if she does, she's toast. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Now, another question. How many of you believe, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, 1 being the least, how much of an effect for the good does RFK Jr. bring to Trump? Just curious about what you feel about that. Real quick, any questions, any comments about RFK? Anything about RFK? Anything about RFK? Dennis says, I think it will be called off. You know, Dennis, I mean, maybe. I don't think it'll be called off. I think that she will back out. I mean, if I was Trump, I'd show up. Take the heat. You got to respect Trump. I wouldn't have done it. I mean, I think that if she's not going to go on Fox, he shouldn't go on ABC. But he may get a more favorable treatment from ABC than he will Fox. Fox can't stand Trump. There's people on Fox that cannot stand his guts. The Murdoch boys, that they are run by Paul Ryan, and I think that he almost would have gotten a harder shake on Fox than he ever will ABC. ABC just, you know, people don't hold them in high esteem. But Fox is the conservative network. And if they would have got on there and roasted Trump, then the media, the left-wing media, would have eat that up. Brett Baer's out there. He was out there this week just extolling Kamala, and they're telling everybody that she's up by 5 in Georgia, and she's up by this, and their Fox News polls are showing that she's up. Well, the Fox News polls are slurred and slanted just like the ABC, NBC, and MSNBC polls, and I don't listen to a word they say. The only thing that I ever do on Fox is in the mornings when I wake up, I turn it on to see what time it is to make sure I hadn't overslept for my Bible study, and I turn it back off. And that's about it. That's about it. Some Democrats will follow RFK. Danny says 8. Lee says 10. Interesting. 10, Lori, showed a moral compass outside of party lines. RFK was powerful. I see a 6, 7. Interesting numbers, high numbers for that. Dennis says 7. Just numbers, folks. I just need the numbers. We're going to take your comments. Just take your comments. But right now, numbers 8, 8, 3, 5, 8, 5, 10, 10. 4. Jennifer says, there's the politician in me. Jennifer, I would never run for office. My first press conference, my family would disown me. They would disown me anyway. My family don't even watch my own show. Can you believe that? They don't even watch my show. That's all right. No, they would disown me. Because I would have James R. standing beside me. And I put it like this. The media would never ask me and James R. a question again. Because it would be I put it like this. We'd probably have to resign after the press conference. But it would be the most funnest hour in the history of political campaigns and the political stuff that I'd say to the media and tell the nation how to fix this mess. Yeah. That's why I'm not a politician, Jim. That's why I'm not a politician. 8, 9, 9. So most people believe RFK is going to have a favorable thing. I've got a video, and I'm trying to figure if I want to play it or not. It's from the old show In Living Color. It was back in the 80s, and I watched it today. I was laughing. Jim Carrey and Jamie Foxx this is where Jamie Foxx basically got his start. And it was a dating game sketch, and it was an ugly woman. I mean, just being honest with you, it was an ugly woman. And of course, the old dating game, the Bachelorette, she had 3 guys behind a wall, and they couldn't see her, and she couldn't see them. And she had to base her choice on what they were saying. And I was thinking about this video today, and I was watching it and I was laughing so hard, about choked. And I'm thinking to myself, because when she picked Bachelor number 2, and when Bachelor number 2 walked around and saw how ugly she was, he ran and jumped into Jim Carrey's arms. And I'm thinking, I think it goes to Janet Williams' questions. When the country picks Kamala, because folks, when you get down to it, we're choosing between Bachelorette number 1 and Bachelorette number 2. Or Bachelor number 1 or 2. The candidate number 2, I'll just word it like that. We're choosing between candidate 1 and candidate 2. There ain't no 3 anymore. RFK's now jumped on with Trump. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. She's not going to show her true colors until she's elected. She ain't. And the country is going to be jumping somewhere. And it ain't going to be in the arms of anybody. It's going to be complete destruction. I thought that's a pretty good analogy. That's a pretty good analogy. Anyway. All right. We've gone 95 minutes, an hour and a half. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I do want to show you something before I forget about it. And please, if you are going to see a movie this weekend, I want to encourage you. Right here, this is the movie that Dennis Quaid. I met Dennis Quaid about a year ago. I'm going to post a picture on Facebook, that picture again that I posted with him. But he stars in a movie that I want to go see, and I'm going to go see it. John Voight's in it, Penelope Ann Miller, Reagan. And I think John Voight plays Mikhail Gorbachev in this movie. And Dennis Quaid's a good man. He got born again. He lives near me. He's to my west here a few hours. He's in Tennessee now. One of the best actors in Hollywood, but he don't stick around Hollywood. He loves the Lord. Got to meet him in person last year at the NRC, or the NQC, National Quartet Convention. But I encourage you to go see Reagan. Reagan was not a perfect president, but he was a good man. And I believe that he had the right idea, and it was his vision that saw communism as evil in his day, and he did everything he could to take it down. He did everything he could to take it down. And I believe that. And I believe that the Lord helped him do it. Basically what Reagan did, he bankrupted the Soviet Union. He didn't have to fire a shot. Didn't have to fire a shot. Just bankrupted him. He just bankrupted him. And that's how you take a communist out. Let's see here. By the way, a few more memes tonight. I'm going to keep you about 10 more minutes. I promise. I'm going to be out of here. This is my old buddy. This is the guy that's on with us a lot. And let me just flip this around. If I can, where's the flipper? Right there. There's my old buddy. James Akers came to see me last week. We had the most wonderful dinner in the entire world. Had a good time of fellowship. And it was good to see my old buddy in person. He's just an old teddy bear, just like he is when you hear him talk. That's him right there. And also, I think I've got a picture of, yeah, this is all three of us. This is his beautiful wife, Imogene. And she was just as sweet as him. And he's a Vietnam vet. Talked to Brad Johnson today. Brad's going to be with us September the 10th. And so we're excited about that. But kudos to my buddy James Akers. He was great the other night, and he'll be back on with us next week. And as he always is, we're going to probably have him on every week. We got, who we got next week coming up here? Toward the end of the week. It'll be the end of the week, but James will be with us. Magdalene will be back with me probably. There's somebody coming Thursday night, Chad Stewart. He is a candidate running for government. He's a brand new guest. We've never had him on before. And we're going to talk to him about some things. And it's been really cool. We've been having a lot of inquiries from people that just out of the blue wanting to come on the show, and that's good. That's good. It sort of dried up for a little while, but we're getting some traction again, and that's good. I'm grateful. And these good guys, good folks. I think the show is as healthy as it's ever been, honestly, and where we're at right now with it. Anyway, Mark says you would write it up, and Adam and I would love it. All right. Jay Morris says RFK Jr. put the fire in when President Trump introduced him the other night. I thought so. I thought he was great. Let me just say this, folks. Let me just say this about RFK. I look at him like I do anybody else. I do not agree probably with 98% of what RFK Jr. believes in. I just don't. I think he is going to make an impact for Trump, and I'm glad for. I don't trust Tulsi Gabbard. Me and James R. talked about this Monday night. I don't trust Tulsi Gabbard past this screen. She's all about politics. She's doing this for 28. Trust me. She's got RFK ain't going to run in 28. She's going to run in 28. I hope he puts a dent in the Dems, but I don't agree with what he believes in. But I do salute him for one thing. He stood up to the tyranny of the vaccines, and he stood up to the tyranny of Hollywood. They've tried to get his wife to trash him, his own wife, to trash him for supporting Trump, and she won't do it. And they're probably going to blacklist her. John Voight, the gentleman I mentioned, they've blacklisted John Voight. He's only starring in these made-for-streaming movies now. Hollywood will not use him because of his support for President Trump. That's what they do out there. A week from Monday night, we have got a dear, dear, dear friend from Salem, Massachusetts going to be with me, Mary Suarez. And she is, her and Catherine Jimenez were very instrumental in helping us get the two events in Salem set up. We're working hard to be back up there in October. And we're going to have a conference up there. But she's got some disturbing stuff about what's going on in Salem with satanic rituals regarding children. And we're going to have her on the show a week from Monday night, the 9th. And we don't want you to miss that. It's going to be some good stuff and so forth. Listen, it's getting late. It's at 11. We're at 11:18. And did you enjoy the show tonight? Did you enjoy the show tonight? Peggy says, I would love to see James R. debater. Peggy. Kamala Harris would be going in about 2 minutes. She'd leave. She'd run. I'd like to see that too, Peggy, actually. I think that would be a great debate. She would show up. Trust me, Kamala couldn't. No, she wouldn't handle James R. I'd be scared of James R in a debate. I'll never debate James R. James would kill me. I mean, he's just too smart. He's smarter than me. And I mean, I already look stupid as it is sometimes. I don't need James to help me because James would. He's as good as it gets. That would be an interesting debate, though. That would be an interesting debate. Anyway, Susan Lotta Moser, good to see you tonight. And we've had a good audience tonight over here. Did you enjoy the house? Look, we got some fire coming in the house. Got a fire in the house. Good to see everybody. Lori says, she says, I think a lot of people are just burned out on the election stuff. I can always speak to myself, but I'm waiting for the sweet justice for people who have done everything in their power to destroy the country. And she lists some things there. And so forth. Lori, I think you're on to something there tonight. And as I go out of here, I'm going to piggyback on what you said because I want to sort of encourage folks tonight. And Lori, I want to encourage you. I know that we all are tired of the toxicity of our politics. I get it. It is easy to get cynical. It's easy to get defeatist. It's easy to look at things and see how bad they are. It doesn't take... it takes no effort, folks, to criticize. It takes no effort to see the bad. It takes no effort to see the negativity of our world. It takes no effort whatsoever because it is so out there we can see it just like that. It takes people of character to see the evil and to know it's evil and listen to me and still fight for the good. Because I still believe that God has a plan for this country if we will come to our senses and find our way back to Him, both corporately, spiritually with the churches, and individually. I don't know how much time is left on this earth for any of us. I don't know how long it is before Jesus comes back. We never put dates. I personally believe it's sooner than later. But sooner could be 100 years. Sooner could be 50 years. I don't know. Sooner could be tomorrow. I could be gone tomorrow. And because I'm not planning on staying here. I believe in the rapture of the church. We're rapture folks here. We believe in the second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ for the church and with the church. Don't blink an eye saying it. We're not ashamed of that. It takes character. It takes faith. It takes faith to see God's plans for the good and to put our faith in Him and trust Him in times of great peril. I think of Dietrich Bonhoeffer and Martin Niemöller in Nazi Germany when the nation had gone so mad that they were slaughtering Jews by the millions and thinking they were doing God service. They stood up in the face of that evil. It didn't stop the evil, but it gave history, it gave us an echo of hope that men of courage still exist, even in the face of an onslaught of hell that Adolf Hitler released upon the world. There were certain small voices that at least had the courage to speak out against the evil that was going on. And they did it with a clear, sober mind and moral and spiritual clarity, unlike any men in their generation did. And there's been a few through history that have been like them, but not many. I'll go out on my show tonight again. There's some Jew haters out there. There's some anti-Semites out there. And I'm going to remind you all tonight again as I go out. Call it doubling down if you like, or whatever else you want to call it. At least I've got my name on my channel. Pathetic cowards. Pathetic cowards. This country right here, our history is not written in the Bible. There's no future. Adrian Rogers, I may play the video Sunday night. Adrian Rogers said this before he died. He said, the Bible don't tell us the future of this country. But this one here, it's written all over the pages. We've been studying it every morning. Been having a good time. You need to come join us on the Faith Network in the mornings between 9:30 and 10, depending on how soon Chris gets up and gets ready. But we're on about 3-4 times a week in the mornings. We only go an hour and 5 minutes, promise. It's not a long Bible study, but we get a lot in an hour, don't we? This nation is written all over the pages of the Bible. I know the future of this one. All Israel's going to be saved. But I will tell you this as a close tonight. The future of this one, and whether we survive or not, what's going on right now, depends on this one and our treatment of her. I want to say this to all of you tonight. I know it's toxic out there. I know it's hard to see the good. I know it's hard to see through all this stuff and not get worn down by it and not get just fed up with it and say, I'm just tired of it all. We're all tired of it. But if we don't keep fighting for our nation, we're going to lose a country. But it's not just us. It's going to be our kids and grandkids that pay the price for that. I don't know how long I got on this earth. I'll be 60 years old in January. It's hard to believe that. 6-0. If I'm fortunate, I got 20, 25 years. I hope I got longer, but at best 30. Maybe I'll squeeze 40 out. Maybe I'll see 100. I don't know. If the Lord hears, I don't know. I pray I see a long time because I want to keep doing this as long as the Lord will let me do it. I love what I do, but I ain't going to be here forever. But I pray as I get to the end of my life, wherever that time may come, if my grandkids are gathered around my bed or they're gathered around me at some point in the future when they're older, they'll be adults one day. And they're going to remember their situation, and they're going to look at their situation, and they're going to know who fought for them and who didn't. And I don't care if my grandkids look at me and say, Papa, Matt, we looked on the internet and there were some crazy, ugly things said about you. Ugly things. But Papa, Matt, I want to tell you thank you for fighting for us. Thank you for staying in the fight and not being silent in the face of evil. Because I'm not going to go to my grave with a regret that I didn't speak up when I had an opportunity to do it. I've got this is my platform. This is my opportunity. And we're not going to stop speaking up. And I love you tonight. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Keep your focus above. Pray for your country. And encourage one another out there instead of tearing each other down. Stop listening to the gossips and the slanderers and the liars and the ones that have no skin in this game, but yet they always want to tear something down, but they never want to build something up. You better hear me tonight, neighbor. We got a country to save. We got our grandkids to save. We got a generation that's behind us that's counting on us to do it. Because if we don't do it now, they ain't going to have a country. They ain't telling where we're all going to be. I love you. I hope you've had a great week with us. We've had some great shows. And I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. If you did, put some fire in that house for us. I will see you back here Sunday morning. We'll wrap up the week. This will be those shows Sunday will be the final ones, probably to Wednesday. We're probably going to take a couple of days off Monday and Tuesday because it's Labor Day. And I want you to enjoy time with your family. And the world will still be crazy. And Chris will still be crazy and insane when we get back. Trust me on that one. It will still be nutty. Now, if something major happens and the world ends, we will come on and talk about it. And we may have a prayer event Monday. But as of now, Monday and Tuesday will be off. We'll be back here Wednesday night on the Faith side. And then Thursday and Friday we'll have shows back on the news side. Love you guys. Good evening. Thank you for all the good questions and all the thoughts. And may the Lord bless you tonight. And take care of yourselves out there. And, oh my goodness. I wanted so bad to play that thing. Maybe I'll get the courage to play it next week. But anyway, we got to go out with the Hotel Kamala, California again. See ya Sunday morning. Until then, McDonald out on a Friday night. Have a good night, everybody.
On a dark Sacramento highway, cool wind in my hair, a rotten smell of ambition in the air. Up ahead there's an election. Biden was forced to step down. A new contender jumped ahead. Kamala now has the crown. Borders are, she was christened.
Do not come.
She should visit someday.
Not today.
Hasn't been there or Europe.
Haven't been to Europe.
What does it matter anyway? So illegals keep crossing. Unchallenged they come. From Kamala Harris, nothing's to be done. Welcome to Kamala's California. Such a high-tax place, such a high-tax place, such a littered space. They want the U.S. like Kamala's California. Something I despise, something I despise. Let's do better, guys. She's got pronouns in her email.
My pronouns are she and her.
Tracked inflation so high. She's pushing solar panels and saying gasoline should die. Taxation dances in the courtyard. Green New Deal so sweet. Subsidies for billionaires while others can't afford to eat. Welcome to Kamala's California. Such a high-tax place, such a high-tax place, such a big disgrace. Hard to survive in Kamala's California. What a harsh surprise, what a harsh surprise. There's no end in sight.
I'm not finished.
Crime so rampant they're fleeing.
Companies hacking their bags.
Empty stores from the take, and she said, we are all just victims here of the policies we made.
Prices have gone up.
From the vice president's mansion, she makes plans with glee. She's looking to California. She didn't just fall
You just fell out of a coconut tree?
Last thing I remember, I was dodging their schemes, trying hard to find the truth again, beyond their false daydreams. Relax, said the spokesman, we are programmed to deceive. Soon enough this will all be nationwide, so you can never leave.
They got what they asked for.
Who can take your money? With a twinkle in their eye. Take it all away and give it to some other guy. The government. The government can. And who can tax the sunrise? Who can tax the trees? Oh, that you're on a business and collect up all the fees. The government. Oh, the government can. And the government can, 'cause they mix it up with lies and make it all taste good. Government takes everything we make to pay for all of their solutions, like healthcare, climate change, pollution. Just throw away the Constitution. I wrote that, thank you. Who can give a bailout? Tell us to behave. And make the founding fathers roll over in their grave. I don't care if you hate me, I'm going to sing it anyway. Oh, the government can. And the
government chemicals and mix it up with lies to make it all yummy, 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 yummy. The government takes everything we make. They're all.
And these people will stop at nothing. And yes, the Russians helped them last time. The Russians are helping them now. And you cover the White House. You know the White House has said, don't brief the Congress. Don't even tell them to classify